Welcome to the module 4 of Python Foundations on Learn with Sarvesh. In last session, you have learned how to make decisions using if, and else. But if you want to continue, if you want to repeat an action multiple times, like printing a number 1 to 10 or checking every student's marks, that's where loops come in. And today, we'll start with the powerful and most popular for loop. So, what is a for loop? A for loop is used to iterate over a sequence like a list, string, range, or a dictionary and repeat and code for each and every item. And what is the syntax for a for loop? So for I or for any variable in sequence, so I'm going to add this code block. Right, so for example, let's have an example. Example 1, print numbers 1 to 5. Right, so I can write for I in range 1 comma 6. Right, so I can print I 1 2 3 4 5. So you can see that is inclusive and 6 is exclusive. Exclusivity means 6 minus 1 5. It starts at 1 and ends at 5. Now let's have another example. Example 2, loop through a list of names. Right, so how will I loop through a list of names? Let's have a students is equal to Arav, Divya. Right, so let's add Meera and Sanjay. Right, so for name in students, print hello, command name. Right, so I can say hello Arav, hello Divya, hello Meera. Right, so I can add all the names here. Now, if we want to loop through example 3, I want to loop through characters in a string. Right, so if at all I want to loop through all the characters in a string. So how will I do that? For I in Python, print I. Right, so Python. So it's going to iterate over the string literal Python. Right, so in the first loop, P will be printed. In second, Y will be printed. Third, T will be printed. Similarly, THON. So that's what this iteration works here. Right, now let's take the similar example. Let's loop through dictionary. How to loop through a dictionary? Let's create a dictionary. Marks is equal to Arav has got 85 and Divya has got 90. Meera has got 78. Right, so for name comma marks or score in marks dot items. Right, so and then I'm going to print name comma scored comma score. So Arav has scored, let's give one small s. Arav has scored 85 marks. Divya has scored 90 marks. Meera has scored 70. She has scored 78 marks. Right, so this is how I can loop through a dictionary. Right, so now let's see loop with if condition inside. How to loop with if conditions? let's have a numbers as 10, 25, 30, 42 and 55. Right, so for number in numbers, right, so if num mod 2 is double equal to 0, right, so I can print num comma is even, right, so 10 is even, 30 is even, 42 is even. So I have taken this list of numbers, and in a for loop I'm going to iterate with one condition if a certain number is even or not. Now let's create an attendance sheet. Attendance sheet. Right, so and let's call this as a mini project. Right, so I'll take the same students here. Let's take all the students' name here. Right, so and whether they are present or not, I'll create an empty list. For name in students, right, so the status is equal to, I'm going to take as an input and an f string literal is name present and then question mark, yes or no, right, so and then close this. Right, so is this name present or not? So if the status dot lower, if the status is lower, double equal to y, right, so present dot append to this, append this name in this list present empty list, and then let's print present students. So how many students are present, comma present. So is Arav present or not? Yes. So is Divya present or not? No. Is Meera present or not? Yes. Is Sanjay present or not? Yes. Right, so who are all present here? Arav, Meera, Sanjay. Now I've created a simple attendance sheet that can be used, by the faculties for the students. Right, so I've added all the students' name in a list, stored it in a variable, created an empty list. Right, so for the name in students, I'm going to iterate. Is the student is present or not? Right, so I'm going to give yes or no. Right, so just if y, right, so present dot append in this empty list, this name will be appended. So the present students are Arav, Meera, Sanjay, wherever I've given yes. So those names will be appended to this empty list. This is a very simple understanding, right? So now as in practice tasks, right? So I want you all to do, right? So I want you all to print all even numbers from 1 to 50. Loop through a string or count vowels. Loop through a dictionary and print names with marks that's greater than 80. Create a multiplication table 1 to 10. So what have we learned so far? So we have learned how to use the for loop to iterate over the sequences, right? So we have learned how to loop through lists, strings and dictionaries, how to use range to control the repetitions, how to build useful scripts like an attendance checker. Now in the next now in the next block we'll learn the while loop. So what is a while loop, right? So and what is the flexibility that the while loop gives in comparison to the for loop? So far we have seen the for loop, right? So how to repeat actions over known sequences, like the lists or ranges. But if you don't know how many times something should repeat, like asking the user for the correct password or counting down until a timer hits 0. That's where the while loop is powerful. So what is a while loop? So while loop keeps running as long as the condition is true. So while the condition, and I'm going to give the code block here. Code block. Right? So if the condition never becomes false, the loop will run forever. Right? That's the beauty of the while loop. Right? So let's give an example. Example 1, the basic calculator. Right? So what's this basic calculator? I is equal to 1. So while I is less than equal to 5, print I plus equal to 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this is the basic while loop, how it is happening. For example, I want to have a countdown. Right, so the count is equal to 10. So while the count is greater than 0, print countdown, comma, count. Right, so the count minus equal to 1. Right, so you can see how the countdown works. I've given a count is equal to 10. And I've given a condition count is equal to count minus 1. Therefore 10 minus 1. So while the count is greater than 0, the countdown, you can see how the countdown happens. Right, so count 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1. Right, so that's the beauty here. Now let's see how to have deal with an user login. How to deal with an user login? They are, in other words, the password check. Right, so let's start with an empty password in dummy string. Okay, so while the password is not equal to Sarvesh123, right? So it's going to happen. The password is equal to input enter password, and I'm going to print access granted. Right, so what does it mean? Unless and until I'm going to give this Sarvesh123. Right, so this is keeping on, this is going to keep on iterate. Right, say for example 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, Sarvesh. Right, so Sarvesh 1, 2, 3. Right, so I'm giving the password is granted. If I do not give it, right, so this will keep on continuing for for infinite times. Right, so there's no way that I'm going to crack it. Right, so unless and until I'm going to give the right password, the while loop will not stop. Right, this is going to keep on asking until the user types the correct password. Right, so, and also there's a problem with infinite loops. So let's say while true, just giving this condition while true, print this is an infinite loop. Right, so if I the moment I'm going to type in, it's going to run forever. It's not going to stop. Right, okay, even this is stuck, completely stuck. Right, so you can see that this is going to run forever. So this condition never becomes false. Right, therefore this is keeping on going, and this will continue forever. So where will I use an while loop? Where will I use an for loop? What's the condition? I'm going to use an for when you know how many times to loop. I'm going to use an while when you don't know how many times to loop. Right? So you're iterating over a sequence in a for loop. You are checking for a changing condition in a while loop. Right? So that's the difference between these two. We'll continue with the examples and practice sessions in the forthcoming session. Thank you.